I don't think you have to post every day. I don't know. I don't think you have to force it. There's probably some algorithmic reward. I know there's some algorithmic reward for a cadence of, some degree of frequency. Um, but as we've discussed, like the organic off the cuff stuff can be significantly more higher performing on social than the sort of like stiff B2B client case study testimonial type stuff. Um, which, this kind of gets us into the territory of like, are you getting impressions or are you getting revenue? And that's a tricky one. Like, it doesn't behoove you to have an amazing social media following and engagement and impressions, and none of it's converting into actual dollars for your business. So I think that the question is that a lot of people also have to consider is like, how do I get people from these channels where it's like, social media or LinkedIn, for example, where it's like, okay, I've got an eye on a post into a place like an email list where you have a bit more control over the messages that are getting to them.
All right. Welcome, everybody, back to the Full Battery Media Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Trace, and I have an awesome guest with me today. Can you tell people who you are and a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Will Steiner. I'm a financial planner, but kind of came to this path through a non-traditional route. I ran marketing at a super fast growing startup for about 4 years, or a big chunk of the marketing department there. I was a writer before that, have my own sort of fun newsletter projects going on now. And yeah, just happy to kind of crack crack it open with content and just some sort of get into some of the strategies that I found really work for me, and some of the failures and lessons I've learned along the way.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because I think that learning content is a constant revision process. You know what I mean? Uh, I thought that I understood shit, but then something comes along. I'm like, this is gonna succeed. Yeah, this video is gonna do so well, and it doesn't. I just have to go, yeah, man, what happened? Because like I made something like that before, and it did well, but then you're just constantly having to adapt.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. Like in one regard, yes, the formats and the algorithm is constantly changing, but in another, it's like on the other side of whatever you're doing is another person. And I think people care about quality, people care about craft. Not everybody. And maybe I wish more people did. Um, but I don't know. I think if you have some sort of personal driving principles and you care about the work that you're doing, you'll at least be around long enough to benefit from consistency.
Yeah, I agree. I think too though, like storytelling is great storytelling. Like if you're really aiming to tell a great story, I mean, if it's caveman times or now, people are going to stick around for a good story, and I think that that's something that I try to lean in on is like good storytelling because I remember one of my favorite videos of the past 10 years or 20 years. I don't know when he did it, but it was Casey Neistat did this video that was him, and he went to, it's like a ski slope, and he had a giant drone dragging him around the ski slope, and it was when drones were just getting popular, and it was this massive drone, and he was, like, snowboarding behind this huge drone, and I was just like, "This is pretty cool, man. I don't know what's happening here, but dude, I wanna try to, like, have a giant drone pull me around a
We're
ski
all looking
resort."
for our giant drone, okay, in some way or
Dude,
another.
right. Right, in some way or another, man. But then all of a sudden, poof, the Samsung logo popped up, and I was like, "Damn, that was an advertisement the whole time?" They got me, but it was like it was packaged in great storytelling, you know? So it's interesting that, if you have a good story, people stick around.
Yeah, and yet storytelling is one of those words where it's like everyone's saying it. It's sort of like thought leadership. It's like everyone says the words, but the best definition I've heard of like what makes great storytelling, I think is actually like Sean Puri quoting Andrew Ross Sorkin, who once said like, I worship at the altar of intention and obstacle. And it's like, oh, that's such a
Oh,
great quote
goddamn.
because it's like, it's like, well, what makes a good story? It's like, well, someone wants to do something and something is getting in their way. And I think that's just
Yeah.
one of those sort of like heuristics where it's like, okay, you have that in the back of your head. It can be applied to anything, a social media post, a newsletter, a book, whatever. Like it can be universally applied. And it's just one of those useful things where it's like storytelling, great, helpful, not really helpful word. Intention versus obstacle, helpful framework.
Yeah. I in a previous iteration of my life, I studied acting, and I got to study with the really cool acting teacher, Ivana Chubbuck. Now, Ivana taught some great Oscar winners, and she's got really cool stuff, and she's got the 12 steps of the actor, and she's one of the coolest people I know for in that field, and she's she reminds me of Marge's sisters from The Simpsons. Sit down, sits there and smokes in class and all that, and let me get to the point, though. Um W what her technique teaches is that you have a goal, like an overarching goal, and, like, every character has, like, the overall goal. Like, what is it? Power, love, to be worshipped, and then each scene you have a goal and objective, right? But then you have an obstacle, like, so and, like, when I started learning about film, I did actual movies before I got into, short form content and vlogs and stuff like that, but I love writing. So, let's take a story. I live in my house, and there's a big apartment building next door. Let's put my wife and daughter on the top floor, and I need to go get them. So I take the elevator down, walk across the street, press the elevator button, go up. Hey guys, it's time to go home. Okay, Dad. Go back. We're home. It's a shitty movie, man. And it's really a horrible movie because there's no obstacles. I just walk down and go up. Now let's take that and put me over in that movie and or in that building and turn the power off. All right, now I've got to walk up 23 floors in the dark, and it's kind of an old creepy stairwell, get up there. Then I've got to walk them down in the dark. But I've got my phone, I can do the light. Still not that great of a story. Now let's do that again. And now we're gonna add dudes who can do martial arts. Okay, so as I'm walking up through that building, I have to fight my way through each floor, right? All right, that's kind of hard. Now, instead of like martial arts and there's zombies, and there's like a mob boss at the top who controls the zombies. Now we're getting somewhere,
Now we're getting
and like
into a
that was like,
3-year-old sort of like fantasy scape, which I like personally. I'm
I'm
like,
with you, man.
these are the conversations I'm having with my kids, except it all starts with, hey, what if, you know,
Right?
I'm like, what if we added me
That's
to
it.
the movie and I'm actually at the top trying to seduce your wife? There's an interesting twist that kind of comes in play here. Um, so yeah, but your
God
point
damn.
is well taken, right? Like,
Oh, well played, man. Well played. Now that's a plot to a movie and a twist right
mhm.
there. I love it, man. And like the thing is I think that like we, as content has gotten bigger, like people are forgetting some of these points. You still got to have a good story. But like, I want to ask you this: like, if someone, I'm still stuck on that. That shit was funny, man. If someone wanted to start creating content today, what's the easiest way to begin without overthinking it?
There's like all the textbook answer, which is like, well, like think about what you like doing and maybe what you have a perspective on and the mediums that you prefer. Like, do you want to be in front of a camera? Do you want to write? Like, if you hate writing, you probably shouldn't do a writing project, right? So in some regard, like there's wisdom there where it's like, if you want to start, the goal of starting should just be figuring out something that you can keep doing. Because who wants to start something and then just be like, ah, this kind of sucks and stop. So I think you have to start with the knowledge that like it's not gonna go great at the beginning, but if you can build some sort of habit around it, like you will eventually get better. Like this suffering period as a beginner in anything where it's like, oh, I'm seeing people around me doing a great job and I'm not doing that. So okay, like coming back to the actual question, like what would I start doing? Like, I think the first thing you have to do is just do some observation. Like, you want to be creating something, you need to consider what you would want to create about. And so I think it's first finding that topic or that theme that is like just something that creates a spark inside of you as like, ah, I like talking about this. So observe your life, find something that gets you fired up, and then think, okay, well, what's a medium that is going to be really low friction for me to get my thoughts out there? The second piece, so if it's sort of like choose your topic, choose your medium, great, nothing crazy about that. But I think the next sort of step here is like consider one person on the other side. Don't think like, oh, I'm going to write this for an entire niche of people. Even if you're like, oh, niche down, riches and niches, whatever. Like, don't think about a group of people. Think about writing for just one person or recording a video for one person. It's much easier to put yourself in one person's shoes and think, okay, if I'm on the other side of this, like, is it interesting? Do I have a reason to keep watching or reading this? Am I getting something out of this? And I think those two things of like, what fires you up, also respect the person on the other side is like, probably two things worth considering for anyone who's starting out. Like, you have to have answers to that, or at least thought about some of those things before you hit go.
I have I've seen people have challenges by going too far to the extreme on either side. And it was interesting because I knew one guy who was like, "I only wanna make what I wanna see." It's like,
Hmm.
well, you've got an audience of one, you know? And it's like,
Right? Yeah, the one person can't be you, right? The person you're writing for
right?
probably can't be you if you have commercial intent with this. And maybe that's another thing. It's like, do you have commercial intent? I don't know. Is it a passion project? Is it a business? A lot of this stuff starts somewhere in the middle, and takes shape, you know, reactively.
Yeah. Right. And it's interesting too because, then the opposite side would be people that are always trying to please others and they don't have any identity of themselves. It's like, well, let's see what everyone wants online. Like, I was building out one my financial podcast, and it's like it was like, I went to the YouTube section about, like, what other people that are doing, like, financial podcasts or, like, YouTube channels are doing, and it was, like, straight up doom and gloom. It's like, "The crash is coming.
Mhm.
You're fucked because it's just gonna go downhill." And I was just like, "Whoa, that's
Yeah.
pretty hardcore. I don't even know about that stuff that I would be able to do that," you know?
Oh yeah. They're at different scales. Once you sort of hit like absolute top of the food chain, like you abstract yourself and you become so general that it's like, okay, you guys all sound like you're rehashing the same platitudes right there at the tippy top. Um, at the very bottom, it's like, okay, I don't know if everyone needs to know this level of detail about your life, but like, cool, you're creating and you got started. And then there's this huge middle section of like drastic variations in, creator revenue. If we're talking about sort of that creator economy business model, I think someone who's really hit the nail on the head here on is Jay Klaus, who kind of has a great perspective on the value of the sort of like 1,000 true fans, mantra, creates for sort of, he's got many thousands of true fans, but he's got also gotten a community. He's found his sort of message, his core messages, and he's expanded into several channels to distribute that message. Um, and along the way, like he's taking us on his journey. So that's like a good model if you're looking for someone who's sort of, I think, in a happy middle ground between like totally lost sense of self, but serving the masses, and that sort of creating for one, but the one is them version at the very bottom.
Mhm.
But it's in evolution for anybody at any stage. Like, there's no perfect formula for how you should go forth and create content, unfortunately.
Right? It'd be nice if there was, but yeah, there's really not. And like, it leads me to understand, like, to question, like, why does some people's content feel fun and interesting, and others feel boring, even if the topic is the same? Is it the person and how they present it, or is there something else going on?
Yes. It's the person. Like, for these creator businesses, like, if you don't have some fucking verve or moxie or, like, whatever that je ne sais quoi is, like, if you don't have that, which is not to say that it can't be developed, but it's like, again, put yourself in the audience's shoes. Do they wanna watch someone mumble through something, or do they wanna watch someone who's, like, passionate about the topic, like, clearly emoting interest, uh, in a way that grabs you, like in explaining something new to someone else, it feels new to you, right? It's like with kids, you show them a new thing, you almost get to experience it as a new thing yourself. Um, and I think that's the differentiator, um, between the people who really thrive as content creators. It's like clearly they have a spark within them about what they're talking about. Otherwise, like, there's too many other good options for me to waste time watching someone who doesn't have that.
I love that. One of the things too, I think is yeah, I completely agree. Like the people that succeed, they have something about them that is interesting, at least is not like absolutely obnoxious and horrible to watch. I uh I remember what was his name? Was it Tom Green? That guy, that really weird comedian from the
Yeah,
90s.
that sounds like this is
Yeah,
gonna
he's
be a
just
Tom Green thing.
yeah, super awkward, like, comedian, but one of the wild things is that Tom Green was the person and, like, Tom Green's podcast did not continue going. The Tom Green show faded away because
Mhm.
Tom Green was kind of a weird dude. But do you know who came on his podcast and was like, "This is pretty interesting. Podcasts
I
are really
do.
interesting."
Rogan.
Rogan. Rogan was there. That was where Joe Rogan got was like, "This is pretty rad. I get to sit here and talk about whatever I want." And, like, right there, you see this difference in personality starting at the same time. One guy had a very hard to interact with style, and one guy is just like,
Mhm.
"Let's talk about whatever," you know? And Rogan was crushing it because of the
Yeah.
way he just was easy to connect with, you know?
Well, and he crushed it for a really long time because and in part because he had all these wacky interests, like black belt
Yeah.
in jujitsu, loves aliens, right? Like has read up on all the conspiracy theories, like Graham Hancock stuff, cares about nutrition and fitness and was genuinely curious. And I feel like Rogan's podcast, like I listened to the Joe Rogan Experience for a long time, and I just don't listen to it that much anymore. Um, and I think part of that is because like his curiosity of he's gotten very like he's got his stories, like he's got his point of view now that feels less curious and wandering and a little bit more like you hear his takes kind of over and over, which is
Mhm.
we wouldn't be doing. This is not to rag on Rogan. Like I'm a he. There are fewer guys whose lives have been more shaped by Joe Rogan, I feel like, than me. I'm now a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I sauna every single fucking day. Like, the
Oh,
dude
yeah.
changed my life. Um, but I just don't listen. I can't listen to his podcast anymore.
It makes sense, man. Like, I think that and that's, like it's really challenging to, like I was watching an interesting commentary on Mr. Beast yesterday, and geez, I'm not one to comment on Mr. Beast, but this was really fun, really interesting to watch this guy go down this path. He's like, Mr. Beast is falling into this trap of becoming like a game show host, and like what got him like to be popular was he did weird shit with his friends, and like they're there less, and now he's become like was it the Bob Barker of like the Gen Z, you know? He's like their version of Bob Barker, you know, "Let's
Yeah.
do The Price is Right." It's
Right.
like and like it's interesting that people can evolve in ways that don't always, you know, have the same draw.
Well, and this is not a problem that you, or probably, well, look, I don't want to speak for you. It's probably not a problem that I'll have to face as far as audience size and, reach, but like, it's almost like you become a caricature of yourself. And that is, to me, like pretty undesirable as far as paths go. I feel like the litmus test is like, am I still doing this for the reasons that I don't know. I wanted to say like, am I doing this for the right reasons or the reason, which isn't to say you have to keep doing something for the reason you started doing it for, but it's like, are you doing it for reasons that maintain some amount of importance or like worth in your spirit, you know?
Yeah.
Which again, good. Making money is good. Like thriving and doing shit and building amazing businesses is good. Like that, rising tide lifts all boats sort of thing. But then you get to a point where you're like, okay, how do you know if you've become a caricature of yourself or not? I hope to one day have to ask that question because my creator
Right.
business is so successful.
Right? It's interesting, man, and you don't have to think about that, but, like, yeah, I think you have to think about the core concept, like, think about this, right? Um, someone comes up to you and has a bag of dog shit, and they're like, "Hey, would you eat this for $1?" And you're like, "Fuck off, man. Would you eat this for $5?" "I don't
Yes.
know."
Oh,
You know,
sorry. I mean, no.
for 100, you know? Yeah, there's a lot right, yeah, some people are gonna be like, "Yeah, dude, just give me that dog shit, it looks fucking fine as hell."
Uh-huh.
But, no matter what, there's gonna be a line where most people are
Are
gonna
eating the
say,
shit
"Yeah,
at
they're eating the shit."
$25,000. Yeah. Or more. I don't know. Did I just
25
reveal something about myself?
Right? Hey, dude, 25K right now, I probably that would be, yeah, I probably would, probably cross that line about there too. But, I think that's one of the cool things that Mr. Beast kind of answered. Like, I think Mr. Beast, that was the core part of his channel. What would
Mhm.
you do for money? What
Right.
would you do for,
Yeah, which it's like in his own way, he's saying something true about the human condition, which I feel like
Mhm.
that's where, great creative, content creation, like, ultimately there's there's a million ways to create content. It can be educational, it can be inspirational, it can be so many things, but, like, I like when you learn something about the human condition. It's one of the reasons,
Yeah.
like, I write one of the newsletter that I write is sort of like a passion project. It's called Parental Advisory, and it's just funny. I have 3 kids under 5, under 4 currently, actually,
God,
and it's like funny shit is happening around my house constantly, but it's
all
like
the time.
so it's, just an endless stream of potential content, and I just document it, through my own lens and ask, like, "Is there something that I can learn from these hilarious interactions?" Um, but it's like in those interactions, I feel like I am seeing truths, kids being that sort of incredible source of wisdom in their own way.
That's awesome, man. I love that. I think that's a powerful way to do it, and I think that like that personal experience is something that's powerful. Like I have a, I have a personal finance podcast where I talk to all these really high level financial advisors that I shouldn't be talking to, asking them advice about money. Because one day my 10-year-old daughter said, "Hey, Dad, what's this?" And I was like, "Dude, I have no fucking idea." But let's find out.
Was she
Let's
asking
talk
about
to some
block
people.
spreads?
I have no idea what
I'm
it
just
was, man.
kidding.
No, I don't even know what that is, dude.
Was she asking
I
about the
don't know
yen
what that
carry
is.
trade? Yeah, just kidding. Yeah, no, it's good to have you. Did you tell her to go listen to your podcast? Is my question.
No, fuck no. No way, man. But I mean, I wanted to like get answers to tell her stuff, and so I think at the end of the day, I started talking to people because I wanted to be sounded a little bit less like an idiot. And it looks like I need to go and when I rewind this back, I'm literally gonna Google the shit that you just said and figure out what the hell that was. So or ChatGPT it. Can we even say Google stuff anymore? I don't even like is that
It
or
is
is there a
legal.
new
Yeah, it's
like
just uncouth, I think.
uncouth not not really the preferred term. I
Right.
wonder when Claude or GPT is gonna become a verb.
It doesn't quite roll. Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Clauding?
But
It
also, I feel like
doesn't.
I'm on LinkedIn so much and on Twitter too much, and it's like everybody so this group of people call it like ChatGPT, but like the non-super online people just call it chat, apparently. Like, I had no idea.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I can
didn't
chat
know
that,
that.
and that's like that's a sensible approach to creating a verb out of this new thing.
Right. I didn't know that, man. That's why. I mean, wild that we didn't call it Yahooing. That was a time. There was a time.
You are dating yourself, my friend.
I did. Do you need to be funny or creative to make good content, or can anyone learn it?
Um, no, definitely not. I think if you kind of imagine like a triple Venn diagram of like education, expertise, entertainment, like I think the okay people do one thing well, good people, really good people do two things, and the best people can find ways to weave them all together. So I don't
I
think
love
you
that.
need to be funny or entertaining to create super valuable content. It could be educational. It could be, for a very specific niche where you have like expertise that is in total high demand and people just need your knowledge. They can't get it anywhere else. So it's like, cool, you have a market. Um, but I don't know, like the greats, I sound like such a loser. The greats of content creation. Um, I think they kind of do it all. and then there are outliers who are just so exceptional in certain areas, like Sal Khan on the education front. Like were those videos like entertaining? No, but like, man, the education value of the video created this empire for him.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's a great example as well. But I wanted to know, like, for yourself, how do you turn your normal everyday moments into content people actually enjoy?
Um, s- I think I like to look at my life. I'm an observer. I think I'm a good observer of my own life, um, where I can kind of sit as something is happening, and maybe comes at the cost of being present with my children. But as something is happening, um, I'm kind of thinking like, what is there a takeaway here, or is there something funny inside of this, or like I don't know. I did a lot of stand up in college, and that was like such a great avenue to just try being funny, whether it worked or not. Like I was working at a secondhand shoe store. It was like all old ladies. You flirted with them. You made sales. Like that was good fodder for like then going on stage at open mics and doing stand up and all that stuff. And so, um, the lens of like, hey, is there something here that's interesting? Like um, is kind of always on. It's just a thing I can't turn off. And, John Cleese of sort of Monty Python fame says creativity is just combining two previously uncombined things, in a new way. You're finding something new by taking things that you wouldn't expect to come together and bringing them together. Um, so I don't know, like, the way I apply it to my own life is I spend time thinking about the things that are happening, and I ask myself, like, is there something funny in this? Is there connection to some other thing? And then if I find that there is, I'll go write about it.
That's awesome. I think that I think there's something powerful in those moments that allow people to connect. One of my best posts on LinkedIn, one of the posts that I think people connected with the most was like about a month, 2 months ago. My daughter, she gets like ever since she was a kid, she's 10 now, but she'll get like a cold, and then it will go into like her throat, and then it goes down, and then she gets vomity after like a week of the cold. And it's every single time. And it's like, and she's like, she'll look at you like, "I'm feeling okay. You okay? Yeah, you look a little green." I'm like, "Blah!" And just like, and it was like hours of that, right? And my wife was traveling. I had finished some podcasts, got her to sleep. I'm like, "Okay, shit's okay." Go upstairs. I laid down, and I had just laid down next to her. She was up on the bed when I heard this and then like boom, and I'm laying on the floor, projectile vomiting down the entirety of my fucking back. I'm covered in vomit, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh god." And then I go and I get her cleaned up. I'm still covered in vomit, and my mom's like, "How you doing? Is she doing better?" And I take a picture of myself just
Yeah.
destroyed at 2 a.m. And I had a long day at work. I'd been up since like 6, fixing stuff with clients. It was like a long ass day at work. And like, and then one of my friends was like, "You need to post your business wins every day." And I was like, "This is my fucking business win. I didn't murder anyone today, and I'm covered at vomit and
Yeah,
2 a.m."
yeah.
I posted that on LinkedIn. Dude, it crushed it. People were like, "Dude, I can relate to that. That's the win that I can relate to." And I think it was just like something that so many people were like, "Thank God someone's actually saying how it is."
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think that that was something that I learned is like, people can't relate to the guy who's sitting there going, "I wake up at 5 a.m. and then I eat shit for breakfast and I eat shit for lunch and it's fucking amazing and no one paid me $25 to eat this shit, but I did it anyways." We can't always relate to that, but we can relate to someone who's covered in vomit at 2 a.m.
Mhm.
because we've been there, you know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, now if it was $25,000 to eat the shit, I could relate. But, yeah, because like, what are we all doing here, Like, LinkedIn especially is such a dumpster. Like, Um, the AI
Such
slop,
a dumpster
like,
fire, man.
it's so embarrassing, which I don't take LinkedIn seriously at all, and neither should anyone. Like, no one really should. Maybe I don't know. It's a place where you should be posting funny stuff. You should be posting personal stuff. Like, um, with how much AI has just filled the timeline, it's like you
Yep.
want to stand out. You want people to find you. You want to grow your business. Like, you have to freaking open up the kimono to the weird stuff that's happening in your personal life. You know,
Open kimono is probably
not
one of the coolest
literally.
phrases I've had
You
lately.
know, not literally for LinkedIn, but you know,
Other platforms, maybe, but
yeah.
LinkedIn probably hold back on
Maybe
that,
your
right?
OnlyFans, I don't
S
know.
right? Speaking of mistakes, what's a mistake people make when they try too hard to sound smart or professional?
Well, at a certain point, like, the truth will come out. You will
Right?
be you do something, you write something, you've got an AI or ChatGPT to make yourself sound smarter than you actually are, like, at some point, you're gonna be face to face with someone, and, like, you will have to show your true colors. So, like,
Right?
why build a facade that is anything other than who you are? That's, like that's your mistake. Like, you can hide behind maybe you can keep up the act, like, good luck. You're just gonna feel a deep sense of cognitive dissonance, which seems pretty miserable.
I mean, people are integrating AI into their workflows, but, like, I try to tell people that I do videos with, I'm like, "Just stop reading AI like slop, man. Don't use these AI slop scripts," like, "I'm here to tell you how you can succeed at your life in 3 simple steps." It's like I had I was asking ChatGPT something, like, the other day, and I was I got this thing where my daughter is, like she's a good kid, but she's an asshole to some of her tutors. Her piano and her teacher and her, they're just, like, adversarial, and I don't know what this shit is. Because her mom and I were teaching her to be respectful, but these 2 come at it, and they go at it, and I'm like, "Jesus Christ, what's happening in here?" And I changed piano teachers, and she's just a dick to the piano teacher, so I was asking ChatGPT, I was like, "Alright, I don't know if you had any, like, thing in here. I'm dumping this. Do you have any tips on this shit?" And it's like, "Dad to dad, I feel you right now." I'm like, "You're not a fucking father, man."
Whoa,
Like,
back
it
off,
was like,
buddy.
"Dad to dad, I can feel you right now." And it's like, "Really? Like, whatever who programmed this shit to say that, man?" It's kinda weird.
Odd. I heard recently that the latest model, ChatGPT, the 5.5 model, is, like, weirdly obsessed with, like, gremlins and ghouls and goblins, and
I didn't know that.
they've written in some, like, very explicit instructions of, like, "Don't mention the goblins." It's like, "No gremlin talk. Stay away from the ghouls." And
Oh
I
my
just feel like
god!
that's so funny, like
Challenge accepted.
yeah, yeah, the thing you're like, "Hey, what's this, like, water pooling at the bottom of my fridge?" And it's like, "Well, you have a fridge goblin, like, you might need to look into that a little bit." Um, but yeah, the
Oh
dad
my
to
god.
dad thing, it's like, kinda wanna you're like, "Stay in your lane," like, you're not a hu you haven't taken humanoid form yet.
Oh, man. That's rad. I, um I did ask today, I was trying to get some help with an image generation, and it was a picture, it was like a thumbnail thing, right? It was a picture of a person, and it says, it was like a text across the top, and then in the back, it was a chart showing the rising cost of healthcare. And so it
Mhm.
was like one of my clients was having me help with this, and I needed to I wanted to isolate a similar background image. I was like, "Can you help me with this?" It generated a cartoon picture of a puppy. And it was like the puppy from like Up. It looked like the
That's
Up
not what I was
puppy,
looking
the
for.
dogs that are like walking around. And I was just like, "The fuck is this?" I was like, "That's the Up puppy, man." I was like, "It's
Yeah.
adorable, but like that's not what I asked for." And it's like, "Good call, Sean. Dad to
Yeah.
dad, I see where I made that mistake." I was like, "No,
Dad to
you're
dad.
not."
Oh, that is
Oh man.
hilarious.
I gotta ask you a question though. Why do simple stories usually work better than complicated explanations?
I think this comes back to, like, who's on the other side of this. what's the takeaway? You know, people like, I remember hearing some stat where it's like people remember like 10% of what you tell them. And that's why the presenters will like hammer, like presenters and big keynotes will like, there's always just one thing that is like the main message, right? I want you to remember, if you're going to
Yeah.
remember anything from this presentation, like let it be this. Um, and so it's just like, how much can someone just ingest? They can ingest more from video than they can from just hearing something through audio. But based on sort of like the information richness of your medium, you're probably not going to want to overload someone. You probably just want to make sure that you have a single point, which again is like a good way to think about content creation. Like all you need to do in any given piece is make one point. You have your point, make sure you've made it, make it in a compelling way, but like it's so tempting to have, like tentacle out to these different areas and like try to tie things in that just don't belong. And I think another distinction here is like, who are you creating for? Um, Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451, like amazing author, like has this great
Great author.
line in like at the back of that book that's like, digression is the soul of wit. And that's always stuck with
Mm.
me. Like, okay, yes, great authors, like they take you on these tangents. They're just like, okay, we could go off for 15 pages and it's great. And then you come back and you're like, that was worth it. But you're not writing like great fiction, works of fiction, right? That probably doesn't apply to you. Um, it might. I mean, maybe it does. Like, but writ large, like that's keep it narrow, keep it focused, get in, get out. Just do it great. Do it in a way that is compelling. There's the guardrails make. I'm really rambling here, and I know that, but like, um, if you give yourself the constraint of keeping yourself focused, you will find that you can create better, more creative stuff too.
I love that. Rambling's okay, man. My ADD, it was taking me down, like, when you said, "Well, maybe you're writing fantasy," I was like, "Hmm, should I
Maybe I
write
should be
fantasy?
writing fantasy.
Maybe I should." Those are where my brain was going. I was like, "Would it be more Silmarillion, or am I arming teddy bears with swords?" Like, my brain went somewhere wild. So, yeah. I'm not one of those people that has a problem with this next question, but some people do. Like, how do you come up with content ideas consistently without running out? And I'm not one of these I'm thinking about teddy bears with swords right now, so how do you come up with content?
Yeah.
That
I work like in a client facing business. Uh, I'm a financial advisor, like, or planner, whatever you want to call it. Like, so I have great conversations with people all the time. And it's like, again, my lens or what I'm listening for in these conversations is like, is there a lesson here or a question that someone's asking that everybody else is going to, or like 80% of the other people who I want to serve are going to be asking? So, from a
Mhm.
business content creation standpoint, like look no further than your clients for a source of inspiration. Um, from my sort of personal creative projects, it's like, yeah, my source of inspiration is the interactions I have with my kids. There's new shit happening on that front every day. Um,
Yeah,
so I think, yeah, like what I said in the very beginning, I think carries through to a lot of this stuff is like, are you an observer of your own life? Or are you just sort of a passive participant and things wash over you? They kind of happen, then they're gone. And are you thinking then on the other side of like who is the audience? Like what are they getting out of this? Is it as great of an experience for them as it should be?
I love that. I think that, like, thinking about coming back to other people's experience is great as well, but, like, I wanna ask you a different like, this question because, like, what's the difference between content people enjoy reading and content that actually builds a business too? Because like, a lot of people watching this are sitting there going, "These guys are making all these jokes, they're kinda being funny, but, like, I need to like, I'm investing and I wanna get a return on what I'm creating, or what I'm return on my investment." Is there something that people should be thinking about there?
Yes, maybe we should have started with this for the sake of your audience. Um,
Fuck no. Sorry.
uh, yeah. So, just so I guess I shared at the beginning that I've done marketing for several years, and I think a good takeaway, a good realization for everybody in their content creation journey around marketing is that it's not your job to create demand. And what I mean by that is it's not your job to convince people that what you're selling is something that they should buy. Your job is to capture demand. So you don't have to create it, you have to capture it. So if you're writing for a business, you need to be thinking, okay, who wants what I am selling? Who already wants what I'm selling? Surely there are people out there who want what I'm selling. And if there aren't, maybe find a different business. But since there are, the next step is is just thinking in a funnel. This is just marketing 101. It's like, if someone wants what I'm selling, how am I going to get their attention? Okay, I have their attention. How am I going to convince them now that I have a solution to a problem they either have or maybe didn't realize they had, but you know, different layers of awareness there. Oh, they understand that I have a solution. How am I then going to take this further down the funnel and show them the benefits of the differentiators of what I have to offer versus compared to what the competition has to offer. Now, there are layers of complexity to this. That we don't need to get into now, but for anyone who wants to really nerd out, there's an amazing book called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, and you can't buy it on Amazon. You have to buy it through his great grandson's website or whatever. It's like 125 bucks, but it's from the right after sort of the Mad Men era where direct mail advertising created the basis of sort of the science of advertising. That was the point where that people were really starting to be able to collect a ton of data, and surely some historian of advertising who maybe listens to the show will be like, well, actually, but Eugene Schwartz, his advertising framework, which the reason I'm talking about advertising is because we're thinking, hey, as content creators, we want people to buy shit from us. But he's got this amazing framework that basically categorizes people based on their sort of awareness, sophistication, and sort of the competitive landscape. Like how saturated is your market? And based on those three things, you would approach advertising differently. So for the pros, the sort of the average business owner who maybe their business is a service and they don't consider themselves a marketer by trade, which is a lot of people, all you need to really know is that you should be marketing to the people who want your product, and your content just needs to answer their questions based on where they are in the funnel. Do they even know it exists? They know it exists? Great. Do they know how to solve their problem? Okay, they know how it solves their problem. How is it different from everything else that's out there? What are the benefits? What are the differentiators? Oh, okay. Like, you're moving them down the funnel. So,
I
does
love
that answer your question?
It's pretty fucking awesome, man. If someone feels stuck or unsure about what to post, what's one simple thing they can do today?
I don't think you have to post every day. Like, just, I wouldn't, I don't know. I don't think you have to force it. There's probably some algorithmic reward. I know there's some algorithmic reward for a cadence of, some degree of frequency. Um, but as we've discussed, like the organic off the cuff stuff can be significantly more higher performing on social than the sort of like stiff B2B client case study testimonial type stuff. Um, which, this kind of gets us into the territory of like, are you getting impressions or are you getting revenue? And that's a tricky one. Like, it doesn't behoove you to have an amazing social media following and engagement and impressions, and none of it's converting into actual dollars for your business. So I think that the question is that a lot of people also have to consider is like, how do I get people from these channels where it's like, social media or LinkedIn, for example, where it's like, okay, I've got an eye on a post, into a place like an email list where you have a bit more control over the messages that are getting to them. And that's where there's certain profile optimization stuff that you can do where it's like, oh, if someone sees you, clicks on your profile, what do they learn there? How are you then pushing them to the next stage of the process, which is perhaps viewing your newsletter or downloading something or taking a quiz, like whatever, maybe you have a lead magnet, something there. But like that's a big piece here. So, which is again, very off topic to the question of like what to do if you don't know what to post. Um, I see a lot of people just posting pictures of themselves and I'm like, okay, like good on you. But I personally am like, if I don't have anything to say today, like I know I'll probably have something to say tomorrow or the next. And I know that my profile is optimized to the point where if I get profile views, people are going to click view my newsletter. My newsletter landing page is optimized to the point where if the people land on it, a certain amount of them are going to convert. And then I have them on my email list. That's where I focus on turning that relationship into revenue.
I love that. Well, I wanna ask you, where can people go to find out more about you and what you do?
Please connect with me on LinkedIn. That's like where I post on my most unhinged content. So I'm Will Steiner. I think it's W Steiner one if you are looking for a specific, I don't know, the URL. Well, maybe we can include some URLs at the end of this. I also write my millennial, funny parenting newsletter at parental.advisoryletter.com. So parental.advisoryletter.com. And then I'm launching my, for anybody who's looking for a financial planner, who's a high income millennial with young kids and aging parents, you'll be able to find me at stoneholtwealth.com.